y'all. I'm your host, Sully, and once again, we got another beyond talented photographer on here tonight, Ron Vestal. Welcome.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you. So I've encountered Ron all throughout the history of Facebook, and I've just always just dug his photos. He is the president of Glow Art Productions, but more importantly, he's just ambitious. It's just what this material comes off as. It's just so intriguing.
Thank you. Thank you. I like it a lot. It's ambitious. Yeah, I tend to go forward. I tend to move forward pretty quickly. Um I wouldn't really say I'm a photographer.
Oh,
I call myself neon body painting photographic artist
all right,
slash fashion designer. Because
sweet.
I don't do portraits, I don't do weddings, I don't shoot events. I shoot nothing of anybody else's stuff. I only shoot my stuff. So I've never in my life been a photographer for hire.
Gotcha. Oh, hey, contributing to your own empire is pretty cool enough. I mean, but so uh, when did any interest spark growing up? Was it throughout college, or where did you always just kind of have some kind of eye for some kind of artistic venue?
Well, I've always had an eye for spatial relationships. I've always been able to figure out what goes where and what fits and stuff like that. It's just a natural, just an ability I have.
Hmm.
Um, I studied radio, television, and film at Penn State University, and I did actually work in the field for a couple of years making community programming on the cable television level back when cable was kind of
Gotcha.
early. But I found, instead of doing high school football games and basketball games and stuff like that, I enjoyed taking our $120,000 mobile production 3 camera production studio and going down into Club Deja Vu in Chester and recording the All Star Jazz Trio because I like the lights. I like the way the colors and the lights and the wipes and the dissolves worked. I just all that all that evocative color and motion, really excited me. And then I'd stopped doing it for a long time. And because I have another business, I have a furniture business, and
Oh, nice.
it's really a hands-on business. And anyway, there was what brought glow art out was in 2008 we had an economic recession, and I'm an office furniture dealer. 3 years later, in 2011, the numbers still aren't running between what we're selling and what we're spending. The numbers still weren't working. So I walked out into my showroom and I looked around to see what resource I had that I wasn't using effectively. And what I figured out was that I wasn't using the walls. I was using the floor for a showroom, but I wasn't using the walls. So friends had been telling me forever that I should have art hanging on the walls and sell a desk and a chair and a bookcase and then a work of art. So I opened an art gallery. And after
Oh,
a
wow.
couple of months, and we started having monthly events, second Saturday art gallery. And after a while, photographers came to me and wanted to shoot in the studio. And I ended up trading a guy his obsolete equipment for some used lockers I had. And so I just started playing around with that. And I went to a Facebook event at Graffiti Warehouse in Baltimore. And there was a gentleman in there at the event by the name of Chris Fred, and he was taking these Sharpies and painting lightning bolts on the side of models' faces and then holding up a black light and taking a picture of it. And I looked at it and I
Hmm.
thought, well, that looks kind of cool. But then it was a Facebook event, so we edited it and put the pictures up on Facebook, and it really lit up. And I just started playing around with it from there. That would have been about 7 years ago.
Oh,
And
man. All right.
after a few years of doing shoots and making two-dimensional art, two-dimensional prints, it occurred to me that it's a much better use of the medium if I put it onto apparel. So I put it onto
Uh,
shirts,
right.
and that's way more fun because now I'm a fashion designer, and fashion shows are fun. They are really fun things to do.
Absolutely. Man, that's a mouthful. And like any profession, it kind of it leaped out at you versus you were looking for it. But altogether, why do you think you just stuck so close to the ground with this one? Why do you think you just instantly just trusted it? You're like, you know what, this is meant to be.
Uh, I didn't trust it. I grew it. It's
There you go.
I'm not I'm all right. So I'm not the kind of guy. I can't read a book that someone else wrote on how to do this and remember it and then do it. I'm the kind of
Mhm.
person, if I'm here and I want to be there, I cut a path. You know,
Gotcha.
I cut a path to where I want to go. So I essentially invented it. I mean, there are other people have done neon body painting, but I don't
Uh-huh.
think haven't seen anyone yet who has done neon body painting and then put it onto apparel and made it a brand.
I
So
think I got an answer for that. I don't claim to know everything more than anyone else. It's just a theory. When I was at various colleges, I saw certain artistic types didn't want to blend with each other. They wanted to be their own separate corner or what have you. So I feel like that's kind of, unfortunately, kind of a trend in so many different art forms. Like people want to stay in a different lane. You know what I mean?
well, that's yeah, and that's part of why I don't say I'm a photographer. You know, somebody asked me once who was my favorite photographer, who I looked up to, and I said, I don't know the names of any photographers. I don't know any photographers. I don't look at anything anybody else does. I look only at what I do. If I look at another photographer's work, it's maybe because I want to work with that model, I want to paint that model, or I want to have that model in my apparel. So yeah,
There you go.
I never I you know, I mean I don't shoot nudes, I don't shoot implied, I don't shoot lingerie. I don't shoot anything except for body paint, roof silhouettes, and people in my clothes. Other than
Right.
that, I don't shoot it. I don't because I don't I it I never understood trying to be like somebody else. I always thought let them try to be like me.
No, that's a very good point. Do you feel like so many kind of incorporate that, especially when they're in marketing, where it's like that they have to make it be just like their other fellow colleagues. Like that's the only way to make a sell. And it's like, really? That's the only way to make a sell?
Yeah, I agree. I was never much of a follower. You know, I can remember back in third grade and fourth grade, I just couldn't understand, you know, why people were doing everything all the same way. Because I would look at a problem and I would almost always come up with a different solution than most of the people in the room. And my solutions worked too. So it was just always that way.
Exactly. It just gets very underwhelming if all you're going to do is just kind of copy and paste.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Well, and if you can't become,
I'm not capable of following other people. I'm just not. I'm 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 not that much of a joiner, you know. I mean,
you're good.
I've just never been in the pack. You know, I love the camp, but I was never a Boy Scout. You know,
There you go.
I
Yeah.
love the camp,
I'm on the
never a Boy
canvas,
Scout.
but I'm coloring a totally different corner, not combining it.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
So,
man.
you know what I'm doing right now, where I'm going is I'm back into fashion shows again. I think I've done three since since like Mother's Day, and I've got two coming up in June, and then another and two coming up in July.
Oh
And
wow.
and that's a lot of fun. It always ends up producing a lot of content, which means I get a couple of gazillion models published again, and they love that. My models love to see their picture with the publication's name on it. They really enjoy the tear sheets.
Nice. Altogether, so when starting with your own tools and everything, it can be very overwhelming sometimes. What are some less pricey photo and painting supplies that you recommend
Oh, okay. So
for other artists, photographers?
what well so I'll start answering that question by explaining what I told someone once. Somebody said something about my art, and and you can't this and you can't that. And I said, let me put this in perspective for you. I can take an aardvark, shave it, paint it, throw it against the wall, photograph it, and have art. So,
There you go.
so, so I mean, what I a lot of the props I use, I buy at the dollar store.
Sweet.
I go to the dollar store and I get the flowers, and I find ones that I don't have yet, and then I spray them with UV paint, and then they light up at night, and then they light up under the lights, and they make really, really good bright props. I mean,
Sweet.
I was speaking to one of my sisters about the art and getting more sales, and she said, "Well, I'm not sure a lot of women want to put the the image of another nude woman on their clothes." So I
Yeah.
decided to shoot the props. So I took a handful of the flowers and I just shot the flowers and then copy and pasted them all over the thing and then used that image onto a dress. And those are some of the most favorite things. I mean, the ones I like are the ones that are people because they're just really evocative. And I kind of hide the people behind mesh and to make it a little more eerie and make it look like it's underwater, just to give it more interest, give it more pull. But some of the most favorite images are the ones that are just the flowers.
Totally.
So hey,
Flowers
yeah,
have
I
a
mean,
larger demand.
I've got my favorites, but I enjoy it when other people have theirs. It's like, yeah, you can have your own favorites. That's good.
Exactly.
So my
Doesn't have.
website has like 900 products on it, and there's people like different stuff, and so I just put a lot of different stuff on there.
Sweet.
The cool thing about glow art and glow art apparel is that it looks like nothing anybody has.
Yes.
There was a slogan, and I've discovered at a fashion show that it reacts differently to different light waves. All lights have different waves. I mean, white light is the entire spectrum, but you got ultraviolet on one side, you got infrared on the other. Those are the complete opposites. I was at a show and they had oscillating lights, these LED lights, and they oscillated back between UV and infrared and UV and infrared, and different parts of the paint of the image were lighting up and going back and lighting up and going back, and it was so amazing. I looked at it a bunch of times and tried to figure out what it was, and then I figured out it's the light waves. Different parts reflect the light waves differently. So I came up with the slogan, "Glow art, what ladies wear when they don't want to leave alone." If you put this stuff on and go out on the dance floor with flashing lights and UV lights and different light waves,
You're the life of the party.
the dress itself becomes alive.
Oh yeah.
So if you're one of those attractive women that gets in a dance floor and dances around in one of these form-fitting pencil dresses, you're not leaving alone unless you want to.
Exactly.
It attracts a lot of attention.
Totally. People, you could be literally setting yourself on fire and people want to gather around you, because it's no one else, like you say, no one else is wearing that kind of wardrobe. And it's just, like you say, yeah, it does invite a party at aesthetic.
It does. Yeah, it creates a feeling. It creates a feeling.
Totally. Uh, and that's so true. It seems like, well, one thing everyone's really afraid about doing is just kind of like how to interject their art with their merchandise and everything, and then not thinking in the long run, well, this might not be appropriate for school or strip mall or whatever, and it's like, yeah. And so it's kudos to you for thinking ahead and saying, hey, this is how I want to incorporate it, sell it, make it available.
Well, I think it can go almost everywhere. I mean, maybe not in the boardroom.
Yeah.
Maybe not in the. I mean, at least for men. I mean, not a lot of CEOs are going to wear this shirt because there's no place for a tie. but I mean, it can go out in the street. It can be streetwear. It can be casual wear. It can be club wear. It covers a lot of that. It can be very casual, but you can wear it to a relatively formal event. You throw a black jacket over it and a pair of high heels, and not very many people are gonna criticize someone wearing my apparel. And if they do, they're the type of people you don't care what they say.
Yeah, they've been putting down so many people, and it's like, who put you in charge? Be constructive or just don't open your mouth, It's just like that. It is interesting. We're seeing a lot of that even at certain conventions where it's like they've invited all kinds of stuff, art show, movies, and TV, and then they break it into all other sorts of stuff, cosplay, photo networking. But yeah, now it seems like every once in a while there will always be just one of those twits at a convention, and it's like, why are you here? Are you just here to put down various vendors? Well, why are you doing that? It's not helpful.
Well, I was speaking with an energy worker that I knew who was working on me at the time quite a bit, and she said, you're going to notice after I'm finished with these sessions that people treat you differently. There's going to be two types of people. There's going to be people that love what you do, and there's going to be people that hate what you do. Just ignore the haters. Just focus on the lovers and just move forward. Just walk right past the haters, because people are going to see you moving spiritually at a very fast rate. And I think my apparel shows a spiritual movement at a very fast rate. At least it does for me.
No, that's true. I do see a lot of just kind of constant changes and like something new every month, especially in different professions and everything. And at this rate, there's really no point in predicting any kind of market or any growth. Is like it's always going to keep changing. You just got to have a backup plan.
Yeah, I don't think the key is to predict the market. I think the key is to make a market. That's that's kind of always been my attitude. Make the market, make the place in the world that you want to be.
I love that. That's because you do see so many people who kind of got the quitter approach, and it's like, well, you only get one lifetime. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to make this.
If I was looking at this as financial success or financial failure or something along those lines, if that was my measuring stick, I probably would have stopped if I could stop. I can't stop. I can't stop. I mean, I can't stop. This is who I am. This is what I do. Stopping isn't a choice. I'm building a studio.
We'll return after these messages.
Hello and welcome to Culture Shocked, the pop culture podcast brought to you by four aging millennials and our outdated opinions. Join us every Tuesday as we discuss movies, TV, games, and even music, new and old.
Dude, what do you think you're doing?
Are you seriously trying to record a promo without us right now?
Well, yeah.
Dude, you can't just do the promo by yourself. Who's gonna listen to that?
Yeah, and you probably haven't even told them that we're a pop culture podcast where we always agree on everything. For instance, the Sam Raimi trilogy, easily being the best of the Spider-Man movies.
No. But I think we can all agree that Jaws is a classical masterpiece.
Nope, don't like that. But we do all agree that the sequel trilogy of Star Wars is the best in the Skywalker saga, right, guys?
That comment is so ridiculous. I don't even know where to
Anyways, that'll do it from all of us here at Culture Shock. Thanks for listening.
Hey, it's Brent Pope, the host of Breakfast with Brent Pope. You've seen me on some of your favorite TV shows saying things like, "Give it up, Jimmy. You got to sink this putt to win." On Breakfast with Brent Pope, I sit down with guests from the entertainment world, and we do it all over breakfast. Or should I say Brentfast? Every week on Brentfast, you get inside Hollywood info and tips, great breakfast wrecks and foodie debates. Most of all, you get the most delightful 30 minutes of your week. So dig in. It's Brentfast time. Listen at Brentfast.com, Apple Podcasts, or wherever fine podcasts are found.
Do you ever find yourself thinking about who would win in a fight between Goku and Superman? Hi, I'm James Gavsey, and on the Who Would Win show, me and my co-host Ray ignore anything important happening in the outside world and debate fictional battles between characters from comics, movies, and video games.
We got a new show every week, and almost always am I the winner.
Yeah, not true, Ray.
In the past, we've discussed such matches as Captain America versus Darth Vader, Solid Snake versus the Iron Giant, classic matchups like RoboCop versus Terminator, and even the Muppets versus Sesame Street.
That one was crazy. So if you're a fan of geek culture and love a spirited debate, check out the Who Would Win Show wherever you get your podcasts, or check us out at whowouldwinshow.com.
We let things pile up in the DVR, we add them to our queues, we wait for the DVDs and Blu-rays. We time shift. The Time Shifters Podcast. Sci-fi, horror, fantasy, superheroes, comedy, action, film, television, maybe some not-so-current events. Find us on iTunes or at timeshifterspodcast.com.
Cool thing about Blind Knowledge is we are in multiple countries. We are worldwide all across the globe. We are in the US, we are in the UK, we are in Canada, Germany, India, Japan. We're in Australia, y'all. BlindKnowledge.com. Now back to the feature presentation.
A models room, a separate models room in the studio. The idea is to rent a studio space to photographers to help pay the expenses of what I do. The key with the models room is I can invite traveling models. The best models in the world are the ones that travel from city to city to city and just model. I can give them a place to stay and a place to shoot at the same time. And the local photographers will always have, a new batch of models coming through. So yeah, I mean, I don't really have a choice about moving forward. It's just always got to be moving forward.
I love that. Just constant, just kind of inertia, going out and making stuff and not waiting for an invite, just making it happen.
Yeah.
What model directories do you recommend for Mini that you just have found, hey, very reliable, everybody understands each other, there's no
model directory?
Yeah, or just
what's a model directory?
Well, I just mean just sites that have photographers and models they can network.
Well, I use most social media as information out. The information I gather back in isn't really that useful for me. So I do information out. I'm constantly putting images out, and I buzz through and I react to the responses I get. When I post images and then other models like them, I look and see who they are and stuff like that. I mean, there's a couple of red flags I have. If they're the types of people that hold their middle finger up, it's like I just skip them. It's like
nothing personal, but you might be a rebel. Yeah.
Well, and the rebel's okay. It looks more like an anger thing to me.
Okay, gotcha. Just anything a
it's like
little over the top.
Like you're mad at something, and it's like I'm not going to even invite that.
Yeah, why go there and why risk it?
Well, why invite that and find out? Oh yeah, she is a jerk. So yeah. I mean, one of the things that I blow right past is that. But I was using Facebook for quite a long time as where to find models and where to find other photography groups, because the phone I had wasn't modern enough, didn't have the right update to be able to do IG. So then I upgraded the phone and started with IG, and IG's usually better and faster. Facebook's they trip over their Facebook itself falls over its own feet too many times.
No, very true. I mean, this is why I asked this in general, because it's just so hard to just kind of, I mean, it can be or it cannot be, but everyone's got a skill set to avoiding time wasters or people who are talented but they want you to be on a certain way, and it's like, I'm not here to, like you say, I'm not here to deal with egos and unreliability.
I find a lot of people on Instagram. I find a lot of new models from fashion shows.
Okay.
The designers are watching all the other fashion. It's not the designers. The fashion show producers are watching all the other fashion show producers. And when they see a brand and they say, oh, that's different, they contact you. They contact that brand and say, hey, you want to be in my show? I have a difficult time keep spending the money for shows. Shows are expensive. The travel's expensive. The rooms are expensive, and I need to sell way more stuff to be able to keep up with it. So I'm doing a lot of free shows, which are more difficult. They're not organized as well. The venue's not as nice. You know, the free shows are less than the shows you pay for. But I'm also, and I'm careful about saying this, but I guess I'm not careful enough because I'm saying it to you. I get comped a whole lot of places. A whole lot of fashion show producers look and see what I did at somebody else's show, and then they send me their designer card, and I say, hey, I can't do that, and they say, oh yeah, don't pay attention to that, that's, you know, that's not your price, you know. But I have to be careful, you know, to tell a fashion show producer that I don't pay the price, because I don't pay the asking price, because then they think I'm going to tell the next guy that I didn't pay their price. And, you know, it's that whole thing. I've been selling stuff since I was 15 years old, and you got to be really careful if who finds out who got what discount. Because, you know,
God. Yeah.
Well, yeah, people are people, and they've got their egos, and they get upset. But yeah, I get comped a lot. I get deep discounts a lot, and but I do a good job. When I show up at a show, I do a good job. I mean, for example, I had Victoria Henley of the Magnifique shows say to me, say in front of everybody, when she had the models meeting before the whole show, she said, when glow art comes, the show's just a little bit better. You know, and I thought, wow, that is so great. She actually told everybody that the show's better when I come. I thought that was such a nice thing to do. I was so happy. And
cool.
and I think it's that way all the time. You know, I think the other fashion show producers have figured out that, yeah, glow art really knocks our show up a level.
No, that's essential. Altogether, just what gets you up in the morning where you just know, hey, I'm ready to go?
Oh, my brain gets me up at 4 a.m. every day.
4 a.m. Okay,
4 a.m.
Everyone starts at a different time, so no, that's cool.
And I lay there for a little while, and I look at I turn my phone on because I don't want it to ring at night, and I look at it and I say it's 4 a.m. and then I lay there for a minute and I think I don't really need to get up. Then I think, am I tired? and my brain's going, I think I'm not tired. Am I physically tired? It's like, no, I'm not physically tired. So I say, so why am I laying in bed? You know, so I just get up. You know, rest of the folks get in at 8 o'clock or 8:30. I've got half a day in by the time they get to work. And that's when I do like most of my marketing, most of my creative stuff in the morning before I've spoken to anybody else.
Absolutely. Oh man.
So what gets me up in the morning is my brain. My brain wakes me up, and I assess, do I need to lay here or not? And every time I come up with, no, I don't need to lay here. I'm ready to go.
Love it. Oh man. And what are some other good websites in terms of networking?
IG and Facebook. You know, IG's really good. Like I said, I get a lot of networking from doing shows. You know, and when I go to a show, I usually bring my apparel. Well, of course I bring my apparel, but I bring my camera also. You know, and I've got this interesting trick. I got a little whiteboard about this big. I put the model's name, their Twitter, their Facebook, their Instagram, their cell number, and their email address. And then they hold it like a placard, like when you're getting arrested and shooting a mugshot. And I take a picture of them in my apparel, and then you just wipe it off and give it to the next model. So when I go to a fashion show, I've got all the contact information for like 20 or 30 new people. And I go and I look at their social media. So yeah, fashion shows, doing a fashion show, it really works for me. But I do them as a designer and as a photographer also. I don't shoot any of the other designers' stuff. I just shoot my stuff. But I get contact information for all the models that are wearing my stuff. And that's just a really big resource.
Very nice. All right. So altogether, I mean, that this is very insightful, but it's also just very intriguing. And what would you say really just keeps you going, though? Just like every day, you just know you're going to discover something new. Just keep it going.
I keep myself going. It's just my brain. It's let me think. There was a movie Harrison Ford was in. It was called Mosquito Coast.
That's
And
a good
it's
one.
from, gosh, I guess about the 80s.
86.
And, what he said is dead things go downstream.
Yes. Even more ironic because
So
he's
if
the
you're
villain in
alive,
that movie.
you're going upstream, and that's just what my brain does. My brain gets up and goes and does stuff. It's just the way I've always been.
Sweet. No, that's cool because some people can't make that connection, or I don't know, they get flustered by stuff that's annoying.
Oh, I get flustered by stuff that's annoying.
Yeah.
I'll turn the computer off, and I'll go for a walk around the block, or I'll eat. Eating's good. I'll take a break from it and then come back. And sometimes if it's too big a pain, I'll shut it down and start again in the morning. Things that were difficult last night are always a lot easier first thing in the morning.
Mm-hmm. No, that's cool. Altogether, I mean, you're very fearless. But where do you think you got that?
Oh, I live in Pennsylvania. And
that's the only reason. I don't know why.
I live in Pennsylvania. And when I was 15, my parents lived way out in the country. And at this particular time, when you left the state highway, if you didn't get a ride, you were walking the rest of the way. And it was like 4 miles from the state highway back to where my parents lived. And I was 15 years old. If it was Friday night, I was going out. I wasn't staying, I was going out. We had a blizzard. We had a blizzard. I went out. It was 2 feet of snow. I got a ride at Route 30 till I came to the Susquehanna Trail, which was a 2-lane road, and I walked the rest of the way. It took me a couple of hours. And the whole time I'm thinking, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. After a couple hours, I found myself sitting in a warm tub because I finally made it home. And I realized nothing is gonna kill you until you're dead. And if it does, it won't matter because you'll be dead.
Nice.
So there's not that much to be feared of. I mean, things don't really hurt very long. If it hurts a little bit, and then you learn from it.
Totally.
There are losses in life. There's lots of losses in life, but if you focus on the wins and you focus on the successes, the losses fade in the background.
It really can. Yeah. Man, so I'm just loving this. Just nonstop, just positivity. And it's just so hard for other people to do. What encouragement do you do to kind of set the mood and just remind everyone, hey, you're here to have a fun time and do some good work? What do you do to kind of just rouse up just the morale?
Other people.
Yeah.
Motivating other people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all right. So first of all, I'm a Sagittarius rising. Sages are really positive. And Sag rising is just a really positive aspect of a zodiac sign. So I tend to just rally crowds. I got a method of rallying crowds. It just works, and it works on kids. It works great on kids. Kids are almost always ready to laugh, unless they're hungry or they drop their ice cream or something, or they're a little bit tired. You can always get them to come along with a game. Just make a game for them.
There you go.
My daughter showed me stuff way back when she was in middle school. I learned this fun thing. She said, of course, high five, right? High five.
Oh, the band. Yeah.
No, well, yeah, the greeting, high five.
Oh, the actual high.
Right.
Okay.
There's another one.
Yes.
There's another one.
Correct. Yeah.
It's called jellyfish. Goes like this. And if you do that with kids, give me jellyfish. You pull it away and go like a jellyfish. They just crack up.
And
People are ready to be happy. They just need a kick. You just got to kick them.
that's awesome. And it's wild how greetings like that kind of come in waves. Like they're known within just certain groups, demographics, and you're like, where did it start? I want to know more about this. This is awesome.
You never heard of jellyfish?
I think I'd heard people utilize it, but yeah, so that just shows me I've been under a rock.
Yeah. Well, next time you're out, like in a public, like a carnival or an entertainment center or like an arcade or something, see a kid and say, "Hey, yeah, man, do you know high five?" And get them to give you a high five, and you say, "Hey, do you know jellyfish?" And if they don't, show them. And see, especially if they're littler, if they're 5 or 6, oh man, they love that. They love that stuff.
Nice. Very cool. Very cool. Any upcoming material you want to promote?
I've got a show in Philadelphia, Philly Show of Fashion, Philly Storm of Fashion. That's Father's Day, June 18th. Commodore Barry Arts Center. I've got a show on Friday, February 23rd, Summerfest. It's in DC at, oh my gosh, you'd have to look it up. Summerfest 2023. That's the next 2. And then from there, I've got a show. Well, it'll be Miami Swim Week, and I'm with. I should know this better. Miami Swim. I'm at Beautiful You Fashion Tour. Beautiful You Fashion Tour, Saturday, July 15th at Holiday Inn Miami Beach. And then there's another one coming up on July 29th, when Beauty Meets Purpose at the MGM National Harbor. At this point, I have preliminary plans to participate as a showcase, which will be fun. Rather than as a designer, I'll be a showcase. So those are the next 4 things. That's what's happening,
guys. He's a showcase.
It's a showcase.
Aren't you glad they said that and not nutcase?
Nutcase. Oh yeah, I've been called a nutcase before, but the actual I've spent a lifetime being an office furniture retailer. So I've got a real nuts and bolts type of job. So I'm not only creative. I can. For somebody who's got a really, really nuts and bolts business, I'm really creative, really flamboyant, outgoing.
Nice.
Just always been that way. I'm not sure why. It just works for me.
Okay, very cool. Altogether, I mean, what areas do you recommend people just hang out at and especially promote? Other than Facebook and Instagram, and any big giant networking events that you think are going to be pretty ideal?
For what?
Oh, just photography.
I would, if you're established, you do what you want to do. You know what you're doing. If you're a beginner, my advice is shoot all you can. Go everywhere you can. Bring your camera everywhere you go. And get the information of the people that you shoot with. Always make the contacts. Always get their information, because then you're building your contacts. If you do a photo, if you shoot like 8 pictures of someone just in public somewhere, and then you edit them later, and you look at them, you say, "Oh my gosh, those expressions are amazing. Who was that?" And you don't have the information. It's like. Oh, you got a picture of an amazing expression, and you got no way to recreate it or no way to springboard off it. The real key is keep the contacts, make the contacts, save the information. I log mine in my phone. When I make a contact in my phone, I do it for plumbers and carpenters and roofers. On the first line of the contact information, I put their first name and their last name. On the second line, where their last name would go, I put their occupation: model, photographer, designer, plumber. And then the third line, I put the city they're in. So
Nice.
if I'm in Washington, I need a model, I go model Washington, and a whole line of them comes up. The thing pre-sorts for me. It's
Wow.
the old computer GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. The most important way to use your information is based upon how you enter it. So enter the contact information. Every time you meet someone, you're working with someone, enter the contact information. First name and last name on the first line, occupation on the second line, city on the third line. And then you've got them sorted for you. You're in Cleveland, you need a plumber, Cleveland, plumber. They all come up.
Nice.
The key is how you sort the information entering it.
That's very neat. Man.
So yeah, in review for beginners, shoot all you can. Take your camera everywhere. Shoot all you can. Shoot well. Know your lighting. Know your lighting.
Get the lighting down, yeah.
Yeah, know your lighting.
Very cool, very cool. And so we have officially picked your brain.
Well, yeah, and I'm happy to share.
Well, and more importantly, I hope other people just learn a lot from this because, I've been around so many different media types, and I just don't see enough people having fun. It's like, well, let's have some fun.
I was in New York City on Christmas Eve, and we were at FAO Schwartz, this toy store. The big famous toy store. I don't know where it is. I'm sure it's in Manhattan, but it's real famous. And there was a 6'4" Christopher Reeves looking New York City model out there dressed as the toy soldier. And I'm guessing he was in his 30s, and by about noon he was looking whipped. He was fading by noon. I'm thinking, all right, 30-year-old living in New York City, you're out partying like crazy Friday night, you got a gig on Saturday, and halfway through your day you're starting to crash, and everyone wants to take their picture with the toy soldier, and he's like, and he's trying, and I said, hey man, try this. I said, you get the people with you. Give me the camera. When I say 3, you say Shazam. He says, all right. So instead of going 1, 2, 3, I just say 3. And he went Shazam. And everyone went Shazam. So if you're doing photography and the people you're working with don't know how to cooperate, if you say Shazam, you can't say Shazam without Shazam, without opening your eyes and smiling and throwing it out there with your hands. I've used this a million times. I tell people with a group, and they're posing in front of that backdrop at an event, and they're just not getting it done. They're not giving me a picture I want to take. Right. So I say, I tell you what, when I say 3, you guys say Shazam, even if I'm just working with their phones. And I'll say 3 and push the button, 3, push the button, 3. They're going Shazam, Shazam, Shazam. And after a while, you'll get one. But you skip the 1 and the 2. You just go right to 3. Don't give them a chance to think about
it. Right. The minute you think about it, the minute it's lost. Yeah.
Right.
Very nice. And so this has been some great advice. Altogether, how would you say you're approaching this year versus last?
Right now, I'm at a point where I'm moving forward. There was about 8 or 10 big obstacles in my way. And I was pushing against them and they weren't giving, and I was pushing against them and they weren't giving. And so I just kept pushing. I just kept on keeping on because I know sooner or later, if you persevere, time is on your side. You just have to keep on persevering. So out of those 8 obstacles, about 5 of them are gone. Now, but by the time I get rid of the last 3, there will be 1 or 2 more, I'm sure. But you just keep pushing at them. You know, I know what things are wrong in my life and in my career. I know what they got to do to make them right. I know what I need to do to make them right. What if I do what I need to do, it doesn't always make them right.
Yeah.
Sometimes I got to do what I got to do, get all the ingredients in there, and then I got to let that sucker cook. Sometimes time has to make the rest of it happen for you. And you just got
Exactly.
to be there and be ready. I've I've correlated making life decisions with the theory of body surfing. When you're body surfing, you're out in the waves. You get out far enough and in close enough so where the waves are breaking. And then you watch for one that's going to break where you are. When you see one that's going to break where you are, you turn, you swim like hell, and you hope you catch it. You know, so
Exactly.
you get out there in life, you get out there and you tread water, you position yourself to do what you want to do, and you watch for the opportunities. When you see an opportunity, if it looks like a viable opportunity, jump on it and ride it as far as it'll take you. If it fails, it fails. Get out there and wait for the next opportunity.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, it's if you fall down, you know, I fell down 6 times, but I got up 7. You know, it's that same slogan. But you can really visualize it if you ever body surfed and had, you know, and did like an hour of it. It had 3 really good rides. You know what that is. You know what that's like.
Oh, totally. And you're gonna have to deal with it again. You know, there's no way around it. You know. But yeah, if you got just so many different preps, so many different backups, and just other shortcuts that remind everyone, hey, here's why we're all here and doing what we do for a living. You know, it's just so many people don't have what you have, which is just like certain skill sets and just in general, just a sense of passion. And I get it. You know, everyone handles stress and uh, ego differently. You know, so when you can just not downplay it, but acknowledge it and just kind of invite them, hey, you know, you're still here to have fun. You know.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Anytime.
I don't know any other way to be. I don't know any other way to be.
Don't worry about it.
I pretty much go full steam ahead. You know, when I run out of steam, I'll take a nap. You know, I'll turn the
Really?
lights off, close my eyes, and you know, and and lean back for 15 minutes, and I may actually sleep for 2 or 3, and then I get up and go again. You know.
Wonderful. All right. Well, anything else you'd like to do before we take off?
Well, I just want to thank you for doing this for me. I really appreciate it. It's
Anytime.
very, very nice. Very nice. And I wish you all the success. And I hope I was able to give your listeners, you know, and any kind of insight with the problems they have. They can contact me if they want. I don't mind giving advice. My website is glowart.com. GLOW hyphen ART.com. And you can send a message on there.
Oh, wow.
And my telephone number is actually on the website. I don't really want you to call me. I mean, all right. So 6 in the morning to 9 o'clock at night, Eastern time, 9 days a week. I will answer my phone most of the time. And I'll talk to people if I can. You know, if I'm driving, if I got my earbud, you know, I'll put it in and drive and talk. You know, if I'm on the other line, that'll be hard. I can listen to 2 conversations at the same time, but I can only respond to one. But yeah, people can message me and I'll contact them with my best advice. And I'm always looking for brand ambassadors. What I'm doing now is when I'm able to shoot with someone, I make them a brand ambassador. I give them a promo code. The promo code gives anyone who purchases with their promo code a 10% discount. And then I'm paying my brand ambassadors 50% of my profit from all the sales with their promo code.
Sweet.
That way they don't think, oh, he's giving me 10% of his profit. I'm giving him half of it. Half of every sale, half of my profit from every sale made with your promo code, I'll give to you. So I'm always looking for brand ambassadors. I need some effective influencers. A lot of people say, I want to be a model, I want to be an influencer, but they don't get up and start doing it every day. If you want to get to the top of the mountain, you got to get up and start walking up that thing every day. So that's what I wanted to say. But I do really appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. I don't think everyone treats themselves, right enough. I'm just getting bogged down by, negativity. And then I'm just reminding everyone, hey, we're all here to have fun. We're all here to be positive. So let's stop that.
Fresh air, sunlight, exercise, lots of water. That will really help. That'll get a lot of it going, Eat good food. Don't eat out of boxes. Don't eat out of cans. Eat fresh food. The closer you eat to the dirt, the better you are.
Right? Pecans, walnuts, all other sorts of veggies. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love nuts. That's my late night snack.
Right? Best. Alrighty. Well, so we've talked your head off. We've hopefully had just a beyond fun sit down. Thank you ever so much. It's just
yeah.
It's rare.
Hey, I'm way pleased. Thank you, Cameron.
Anytime.
Have a great night.
I will do my best.
Nanu.
All right, Godspeed to you, my dude. I will keep updating you when I.
Follow us on the web on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The podcast is available on Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, Apple, and anywhere else podcasts are available. Feel free to review our show and leave comments on any of those sites. Thanks a million for listening. It's a jacked up